Magandang gabi sa lahat. Ah, kung nandito kayo sa Pilipinas, magandang gabi. Kung nandyan kayo sa ibang bansa, sigurado hindi gabi dyan. Okay? So, magandang araw na lang para magandang buhay na. Ah, ito ay isang pilot episode ng The Professor is In at ngayon tatalakayin natin ang tungkol sa insidente na nangyari sa Tarlac na kung saan involved ang isang pulis at walang awang pinagpapaslang ang mag-ina. Medyo may caller tayo. Ah, ano na lang natin, no? Hindi natin ano ng konti. Okay, so ang tinitingnan nating anggulo ngayon is pagkatapos ng pamamaslang ngayon ay medyo nagulantang ang buong mundo at tinitingnan yung yung part ng pagpasok sa pulisya, yung process of recruitment at pangalawa is tinitingnan kung kailangan nga ba ang death penalty. Kasi meron na tayong death penalty dati pero sa panahon ni Gloria Macapagal Arroyo ay na-abolish ito, no? At pumirma tayo ng kasunduan sa isang international shall we say community na we will not anymore use death penalty as a form of punishment for heinous crime. So, ngayon, nung nakita kong gaano ka-brutal at broad daylight ang klase ng pagpatay na wala nang mang kadipedepensa ang nanay at saka yung kanyang anak, so nagiging malaking ngayon panawagan na ibalik ang death penalty. Ito ngayon ang magiging buod ng ating pagtalakay ngayon. Kailangan ba na i-reinstate ang death penalty para lang magiging deterrent ito ng crime at bababa or magiging, shall we say, magiging panakot sa mga kriminal at bababa yung crime rate. Titingnan muna natin yung ano nga bang meron sa isang tao na kung saan noon ay na-abolish ang death penalty. At disclaimer lang, ang pahayag ng host, ang pahayag ko, ang pahayag ng channel na ito, ng Theosophia, does not reflect any position of theology, any position of the Catholic Church, of Catholic Christianity, and of the organization that I am a member of, the Religious Educators Association of the Philippines, and this is not also the official view of philosophy and of the organization Philosophical Association of the Philippines. So, kailangan maging malinaw sa atin yon. Okay? Kung titingnan natin yung pagiging tao, maraming dapat nating isalang-alang. Paano nga ba matawag natin ang isang entity bilang tao? So this is the question about the person, no? And there are a lot of kinds of person. We have legal persons, we have moral person, and we have the human person. Kung titingnan natin, common in these three is the so-called the definition for a person, which is a bearer of rights. That is why pag sinabi natin na legal person, dapat yung person must be a bearer of legal rights. So paano natin masasabi na ang isang tao ay bearer of legal rights. According to my mentor, okay, Professor Mabacquiao, sabi niya na the legal person inherit the legal right by virtue of uh, being endowed by the state of such right. Meaning to say, halimbawa sa Pilipinas is nagiging ipinanganak ka bilang Pilipino, pagkapanganak mo pa lang, you have already the legal rights as many Filipinos have. So, ibig sabihin, lahat ng ma-enjoy ng isang Pilipino ay dapat ma-enjoy mo rin. Okay? So, kung merong free education, dapat may kasama ka rin doon. No? Kung may libreng bakuna for COVID-19, dapat kasama ka rin doon. Kasi you are a Filipino and you have that legal rights as a Filipino. Ngayon, paano naman natin masasabi na isang tao is a moral person? In the discussion of ethics, tinitingnan dito ano ba yung person, no? So that we can say that we can really relate the person into a moral person. Okay, so how can one become a moral person? Definitely to have the moral rights. How can we have the moral rights? First is we have to determine what should be the kind of person must be the bearer of moral rights. One there, may tatlong theories na binanggit din si Mabacquiao dito. One is the unique criterial theories. The second one is the multi-criterial, okay? And the third one is the meta-criterial. Pero hindi ko na paabutin dito. Dito lang tayo sa unique criterial at saka multi-criterial. Sa unique criterial, napakarami yung basihan, no? Yung pagiging person. One is by rationality. So, pag naging rational, dapat is person yon. Okay? And to be exact is if it has the moral rights, moral person sa. Ang problema sa rationality is this has some bias to human beings, no? This has some bias to human beings. So, ibig sabihin, yung mga hindi human beings na walang capacity to rationalize, hindi sila matatawag na moral person or moral person. So yung mga aso, dahil wala naman silang kakayahan to rationalize, okay, capacity to think, what they have is only instinct, hindi sila pwede, no? Ibig sabihin, yung mga nasiraan ng bait na tao pero wala sa matinong pag-iisip, walang kakayahan to think properly, walang rationality, hindi sila moral person. Yung mga baby na wala pa man at the age of reason, so wala itong capacity yet to rationalize. So hindi sila kasama sa so-called criteria or criterion rationality, hindi sila matatawag na person or at the extent moral person. So medyo problematic kung ang pagbabasehan lang natin ay yung unique criterial shall we say aspect, which is that criterion rationality. Another thing about unique criterial theory is that pwedeng masabi natin na yung person must be having the human DNA. Again, this is also detrimental for those who are not humans. So yung plants, okay, so yung shall we say animals, Okay, we can do anything with them. Okay, because they are not part of the person. Okay, they are not person. They are not. They can never be moral person. Okay, so yun ang objection doon. Pangatlo naman is may nagsasabi na yung life theory, basta may buhay is dapat person siya. Oo nga, pwede, no? So kasama dito yung plants, may buhay ang plants, may kasama yung mga hayop kasi may buhay sila. Ang problema ngayon, pag sinabi mong buhay ang basihan, paano yung insekto? Paano yung virus? Paano yung COVID-19? Pabayaan na lang natin na manalasa itong mga to, and we should have to do nothing against this kind of lives just because they must be considered as a person. Medyo problematic ang life theory. The other one, the fourth one, is the so-called sentience, okay? Sentience or sentience theory. Anong sinasabi dito? The capacity to feel, no? The capacity to feel pain, okay? So kung titingnan natin, medyo na-narrow down natin yung life theory into hindi na pwede yung mga microorganism, no? Hindi na pwede yung mga virus kasi when we talk about pain, parang ang dominant shall we say agents to express pain are human beings and animals, okay? And on other hand, okay, it has been studied na meron din namang pain na naramdaman din ang plants, no? Pero we should have to look into that deeper kung talaga bang shall we say we can consider that kind of pain as shall we say to be qualified to become a person and to the extent a moral person. Kung titingnan natin yung mga animals, okay, though they are operating on instinct, may pain, no? May pain na nararamdaman ito. Same with human beings. Okay. Ang problema dito sa sentience theory is paano yung mga hindi na nakaramdam ng pain? Yung mga nabiktima ng aksidente, nabiktima ng trahedya, na kung saan yung capacity to pain nila is naapektuhan and they cannot feel any pain anymore. So yung mga nasa vegetative stage, no, yung mga may ketong, yung mga lepers, kahit putulan mo yan ng daliri, hindi nakaramdam ng pain yan. Okay? Paano yan? Should we not classify them as a person just because they are not like us who can feel pain? So, yun ang problematic doon. Okay? And lastly is the so-called relationality. No? So, the capacity of an entity to enter into a relationship, to enter into certain connectivity. Okay. So, ano bang ibig sabihin dito? Kung kaya mong makipag, shall we say, relasyon, and you can nourish that relationship, and that kind of relationship, okay, must be a caring one. So it must be a caring relationship. So ibig sabihin, if a certain entity cannot enter into that shall we say realm to have a caring relationship, posibleng hindi siya mabilong into becoming a human person, and to the extent is a moral person. Ito yung paano yung mga infants, no? Yung mga 1-year-old, 2 years, 1 month old, 1 day old, okay? They do not have capacity to enter into relationship, okay? They are just, shall we say, receiver of certain care from a certain doer, no? certain agent, but they cannot initiate a caring relationship. Okay? So, hindi na rin ba sila kasama? Now, what comes into mind, okay, according to the discussion in a certain book, Ethics, Theories, and Principle by Dr. Mabacquiao and Dr. Evangelista, is they come up with certain combinations, and this is one of the many theories in the so-called multi-criterial theories. But what has been said here is that there is one feasible combination of which we can say that it can accommodate person and to the extent moral person. One is rationality. Second is sentience. So kung hindi makasama sa rationality, pwedeng sentience, no? Pag meron sang sentience, pwede siya. Then relationality. So ibig sabihin is pwedeng may mga capacity to think kasama dito, capacity to feel pain kasama rin dito. Mas maganda kung andun yung dalawa. And the third one is the capacity to be in a caring relationship. At mas maganda kung nandoon yung tatlo. Pero pwedeng kahit isa doon andoon, okay? Kasi kung hindi man kaya ng shall we say wala siyang kakayahan for a caring relationship, pero may sentience naman siya, no? The capacity to feel pain. Okay? Kung wala naman sa kakayahan to think, may sentience siya at pwede siyang he is into that caring relationship. Okay? Hindi nga lang kayang mag-isip like animals, no? So ito yung sinasabi na if you have those criteria, then definitely you can be a person, and to the extent moral person. So you must be the bearer of moral rights. Now, in the aspect of human rights, okay, so definitely the person must be a bearer of human rights. In the discussion about the different views of a human person, lumalabas na halos yung criteria rather for moral person is andun din in the discussion about the ancient shall we say Greek's perspective of the human person. Lumalabas dito yung cosmocentric, no? Yung cosmocentric approach na kung saan the human person is not separated from the cosmos, meaning to say the human person must be in a certain relationship with a cosmos. So meaning to say meron ditong nag-ooperate na relational caring relational capacity, no? And if we move, okay, into the modern period, mas matindi dito kasi dito pinag-usapan yung tinatawag na anthropocentrism, that the human person has the capacity to actually think, no? So dito sila si Descartes, yung cogito ergo sum ni Descartes, okay? Sila si Soren Kierkegaard, okay? Nandito sila lahat, no? So kung titingnan natin yung criteria for moral person, parang ito na rin ang ginawang basehan for human person, no? And also the last thing is andun yung sentience, no? The capacity to feel pain. It is because when we have to deal with shall we say with other person, we should have to take note that the other person also have feelings, no? So when I say the capacity to shall we say to be in a relationship must bear also the capacity to think and to feel pain, okay? The capacity of emotion, the capacity of feeling. Now titingnan natin kung yun pala is the person having human rights, okay, must be a bearer also of human rights, okay. Ano ang implication nito sa nangyari sa Tarlac incident na kung saan si Nuesca, okay, yung pulis, ay nakapatay ng mag-ina, si Sonia Gregorio at yung anak niya na si Frank Gregorio. Maraming aspetong titingnan natin. Qualified pa ba siya na magiging human person? Okay? At hindi lang dito, no? Hindi lang human person ang magiging qualification dito, kundi yung pagiging, okay? Pagiging shall we say bearer of human rights. Meron pa ba siyang human rights ngayon na napatay niya yung mag-ina, si Sonia Gregorio at saka si Frank Gregorio? Okay. Now, in the theory of Immanuel Kant, this is ethics, so we are talking about some sort of morality here. And please remember that ethics is the study of morality, no? And not the other way around. Okay? So ang difference nilang dalawa is yung morality is about actions that each person is doing in accordance to some standards, and ethics is the study of morality, whether or not the standard is really an objective one and the right one, no? So ngayon, ang tinitingnan dito is dalawa, no? In the principle of shall we say self-defense, dalawang buhay ang meron ditong nakataya. Una, yung buhay ng inosente na inaatake, at pangalawa, yung buhay ng attacker. Okay, now, meron tayong tinatawag na, shall we say, rights. Ito yung the right to life. Both of them have the right to life. Yung inosente na inaatake at saka yung aatake pa lang na tao, meron sila at the very start the right to life. Pero yung right ay may kaagibat din ito na tinatawag na duty. Okay? Anong pagkakaiba ng right at saka duty? Okay. Again, from the book Ethics, Theories and Application by Mabacquiao and Evangelista, tinitingnan nila ito. One, na pag sinabi mong right, okay, ito yung meron ka, pero the non-compliance of it, okay, does not make you liable, or you will not be punished if you are not exercising your right. Okay? So like for example, you are a legal person, and your becoming a legal person gives you the right to cast your vote during election time. Pag hindi ka bumuboto, hindi ibig sabihin na dapat kang ikulong, ipapunish ka kasi you do not exercise your right to cast a vote. Pag wala kang natipuhan sa mga kandidato, hindi mo kasalanan yan. Okay? Kaya hindi pwedeng na ikulong ka dahil hindi ka bumuboto. Pero iba yung duty. Yung duty ay may kaakibat na punishment, na? Halimbawa, you are obliged to respect the right of other person. So, for example, ang right ng isang tao is, okay, kasama dito yung right to life. Halimbawa, no? That right to life is maikakibat din ito na duty. So if I have the right to life, the other person must have to respect my right to life. So that is the duty of the other person. So for example, person A and person B. Person A is innocent and the one is attacking. This one, okay, having the right to life, must demand that person B should respect his right to life. Okay? Now, because of that right to life, this person B must have the duty to respect the right to life of person A. The moment that he attacks person A, he crosses already the boundary of his duty and trample the right to life of person A. Now, the very moment that he crosses the boundary, not respecting the right to life of person A at all cost has all the right to defend his life over, okay, and against the attacker. So, pag nangyari na wala nang mapupuntahan si person A, pwedeng mangyari nito sa kadedepensa niya sa sarili niyang buhay ay mapatay niya si person B. Is that about disrespecting the right to life of person B? The answer is no. The primary intention, according to Immanuel Kant, of person A is to protect and to promote his life. Okay? So it is about protection of life, which is the primary concern of person A. But at the moment of protecting his or her own life, nangyari na wala siyang pwedeng magawa kundi kailangan niyang immobilize at mapatay si person B. In that case of self-defense, person A cannot become responsible nor accountable to what happened to person B. Bakit? Kasi sa pangyari na tumawid si person B by attacking the right to life of person A, ang nangyari dito is nawala sa kanya yung tinatawag na the right to life. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, pag napatay siya ni person A is walang sanction na ipapataw against kay person A kasi sa yung inatake. Okay? At dahil sa pag-atake na yon, ang pagkamatay ni person B is not against the duty of person B. Wala sang pananagutan doon kasi first and foremost, sa pag-cross niya ng boundary, itong si person B ay nawala na ang kanyang right to life. Okay, ngayon, ang tanong, in the case of shall we say personal defense, okay, or self-defense, ito ba applicable doon kay Nuesca? Okay? Na pwede na ba nating papatawan si Nuesca ng death penalty just because he attacked the right to life of Sonia Gregorio and Frank Gregorio? At the very moment sana, kung ang nangyari may nakadepensa sa kanila, kahit sinong kamag-anak, and at the very moment is napatay si Nuesca, wala sanang problema ito. Pero with, shall we say, with the principle also of human rights, kasama din dito yung chance ng pagbabago. Okay? Sa criteria natin na tatlo, rationality, sentience, and relationality, pwedeng mangyari at the very moment na walan ka ng rationality. Okay? Yung anger mo cannot be counted as feeling for sentience, because the feeling for sentience is the feeling for pain. At that very moment, it is not Nuesca who was in pain, okay, but rather those who became his victims. How about relationality? Okay? Meron pa bang sense of relationality? The caring relationality, the very moment na nagkaroon ito ng karumal-dumal na krimen na nagawa ni Nuesca against Sonia and Frank. At that very moment, cut na siya, no? But after the incident, makikita natin that the caring relationship na meron si Nuesca is not for the victims, no? Pero meron siyang caring relationship pa rin, though hindi ito matatawag na based on certain rationality. Meron siya para sa kid niya, yung bata na sinama niya, no? He became so caring even to the point na nung nag-trigger yung bata is hindi niya matanggap na parang inaasar ito ni Sonia Gregorio, yung pagsabing I don't care, no? Meron pa ring matatawag na a minimal sign of relationality. At kung doon sa human rights, okay, medyo meron itong boundary between whether or not Nuesca has still human rights. The right to life at the very moment yung pagpatay niya, at kung meron lang nagdepensa, wala na dapat yon. Kaso lang, wala na, no? So the next point here is, meron bang pwedeng asahan na makabalik si Nuesca for the three criteria: rationality, sentience, and caring relationality, caring relationship. We do not know. It depends on his own capacity. Pero we have seen so many cases that some brutal murderers nag-change ito kalaunan. Sa pagka-change nito kalaunan, naibalik, na reinstate ang kanyang sentience, rationality, and caring relationship. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, dumating sa punto na yung criteria for human being, yung criteria for moral being, ay pwede pala maibalik pa rin sa kanya. That is why maraming tumututol doon sa death penalty. Kasi pwedeng sa second chance, pwede pa siyang magpakita, he can still patch up, though hindi na niya maibalik si Sonia, hindi na maibalik si Frank. Okay? And how he can patch up those things, we do not know. Okay? It's up to him. No? It's up to him. Pero, pwede niyang pagbayaran ito sa pamamagitan ng ibang tao, and I do not know how, and I do not know what will happen next. Pero, with history of other, shall we say, brutal killers who turned into, shall we say, good people later on. No? Saint Paul, he was Saul before. He was actually a persecutor of Christians. He was a really bad person. Okay, he was a killer. He killed Christians. Okay, um, but he was able to retrieve back his becoming human person and becoming moral person. Okay, he retrieved his moral rights and human rights. Um, Marami pang iba, no? Siguro kung mangyari na unrepentant murderer ang isang tao, even at the very shall we say end of his life, then that is the time na masabi natin na wala na talaga, na wala ng pag-asa na magiging shall we say human person pa rin sa, or moral person, when chances are given already for him or her, okay, to change, pero walang nangyayari. Doon pa natin masasabi. Pero hanggat may buhay ang tao, meron pa rin itong kakayahan na pwedeng magbago, no? Pwedeng magbago. Kaya nga napakalakas ng panawagan na huwag ibalik ang death penalty. Okay? Is this my conviction also? Medyo nagtatalo yung anong nangyayari sa society at saka yung principle, no? Na kung saan na pwede palang maibalik yung tatlong criteria na yan, okay, para matawag ulit na human person ang isang tao, okay, or moral person to the extent of shall we say becoming moral. Sa Senado at saka sa Kongreso, pinagtatalunan ngayon na dapat bang i-reinstate ang death penalty. Malaking hamon nito gawa ng maraming galit sa nangyari sa pamamaslang ni Nuesca against kay Sonia Gregorio and Frank Gregorio. Maraming galit. Kaya malaking possibility na dahil sa emotion ng taong bayan ay maipush itong death penalty. Ang problema sa ngayon, kung maipush natin ang death penalty, is handa ba ang justice system natin para i-accommodate ang death penalty? Yun ang problema. Okay? Kasi kung mangyayari na ganito pa rin ang justice system na meron tayo, na nakakaligtas, nakakawala yung mga may pera, ibig sabihin lang dito, yung masagasaan lang ng death penalty ay yung walang kakayahan na lumaban sa korte. At sino yun? Mga mahihirap. Okay? Mga mahihirap. Wala tayong ganong klaseng gobyerno na kayang ipaglaban yung mga inosente sa korte, yung pagbibigay ng ayuda, yung abogadong pampubliko. Hindi naman sa sinasabi nating wala silang kakayahan para dumepensa. Pero paglabanan ang usapin, ito ay hindi lang labanan ng mga abogado ng akusado, okay, at yung inakusahan, kundi ito ay labanan din ng resources. Dahil ito ay nag-involve ng labanan ng resources, pwedeng ang mga mahihirap ay madiin kahit sa mga krimen na hindi sila ang principal na gumawa or hindi sila talaga ang gumawa dahil sa kapangyarihan ng resources, pera. So, from our previous, shall we say, pagtalakay ng rights ng tao, nakikita natin na ang death penalty ay isang hadlang din para magbago ang isang tao. Kasi, pwedeng may kakayahan pa siyang magbago, pero dahil napatay sa through death penalty, wala nang panahon para makapagbago. Pangalawa, yes, pwede mangyari na dahil sa usapin ng resources ay mga mahihirap lang ang pwedeng tamaan nito. Kung sakasakali lang na maipush talaga ang death penalty, even not following the principle, the moral principle, and shall we say the criteria that we have discovered, ang pinaka-minimum lang dapat na hinihiling natin ay dapat reform ang justice system natin. At may kakayahan ito para lumitis ng patas. Unang-unang arm kasi ng justice system natin ay yung mga pulis at militar. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng madala sa korte yung mga inakusahan, yung itatrial, kung hindi ito madakip muna ng mga pulis at mga militar. Ang problema nito is kung may death penalty na ma-issue at hindi pa reform ang justice system natin, and with the current situation, current condition of the PNP, mostly of the PNP and the AFP, pero dito tayo sa PNP, medyo delikado. Maraming mga miyembro, kaya sinabi kong marami kasi hindi naman talaga lahat, no? Maraming mga miyembro ng PNP ay sangkot sa mga brutal na krimen katulad ng nangyari kay Nuesca. Bakit nga ba? Ano bang meron sa PNP at talamak ito, na mga nangyayari pagkakasangkot ng kanilang mga miyembro na sana sila yung inasahan to protect the rights of the Filipino people, to respect and promote the right to life. Pero tingnan mo, mga pulis may kasong rape, mga pulis may kasong murder, may kasong homicide, may kasong drug trafficking. Halos lahat ng kaso andyan. Bakit nga ba? Ito rin ang pinagtataka ko. At nung tiningnan ko rin yung nilathala na record ni Nuesca, ang dami na pala itong offenses. Merong administrative cases at hindi lang mga light cases. Mga serious cases ito, administratibo at kriminal. May 2 cases siya na homicide, nakapatay siya pero na-dismiss yung kaso. Kaya pwede tayong magtanong, anong nangyayari ba sa investigasyon? anong nangyayari ba doon sa pag-imbestiga ng kapwa pulis sa kanilang mga miyembro. Ito yung departamento ng IAS, yung Internal Affairs Services, na kung saan doon pinoproseso yung mga kaso at saka doon shall we say doon din ng endorse, so whether mag-prosper yung kaso or ma-dismiss. Ang nangyari is puro dismiss itong si Nuesca. Kaya medyo hindi naman sa inakusahan natin ang IAS, pero medyo may tanong, may katanungan, bakit nakakalusot sa dami-daming kaso itong si Nuesca, bakit nakakalusot? Anong meron? So itong case na ngayon ng pagpatay ng mag-ina na si Sonia at Frank Gregorio is a test case for the IAS, whether or not mapapalusot pa ba nila ito. At saka nakakatakot kung talaga. Pero dumating na sa punto na in-announce na ni PNP chief, Devold Cenas, na pinoproseso na ngayon sa IAS yung dismissal para kay Nuesca. Okay? Magandang balita 'yon, Magandang balita 'yon. At least talagang wala nang kawala ito, So, 'yun. So kung may problema pala itong structure, itong system ng PNP, pwedeng ang problema nito una is yung recruitment process. Ano bang klaseng mga recruit ang nakakapasok sa PNP? May yung neurotest kaya maayos na ginaganap? Yung IQ kaya ng mga to ay talagang angkop na angkop para protektahan ang mga mamamayan, ang mga inosente? Dapat ito ang unang tingnan, Sa dami ng kaso nila, dapat ito imbestigahan na rin sa Senado at sa Kamara, na bakit merong mga ganitong kaso ang dami-dami sa PNP. Hindi kaya oras na para i-reform ang recruitment process nito at saka yung pag-check ng mga nakapasok na miyembro? Baka pwedeng may annual test ito para sa neurotest at para sa drug test, kasi pwedeng nakapasok maayos naman, nag-training, nakapasa, nakahawak ng baril, okay? Tapos nag-iba yung behavior nito after 1 year or 2 years. Dapat continuous, dapat yung pag-check nito sa kondisyon ng bawat kasapi ng PNP, lalong-lalo na dahil sila ang inasahan natin na magprotekta ng buhay natin at ng property natin, at dapat tayong makita na ganitong kaso na sila pa ang nagpasimuno ng mga kabalbalan, Dapat makita natin na pag meron tayong problema mismo, hindi tayo matatakot na lumapit sa PNP. O nga, totoo sinasabi ng PNP, marami pa naman sa kanila yung mga matitino. Totoo, pero marami din sa kanila yung mga abusado. Ang problema pag lumapit ka, baka mamaya makatsamba ka ng abusado. Okay? Yun ang problema doon, Yun ang problema. Kaya yung mga mamamayan, pag may problema, napakadalang ito na pumunta sa PNP, kasi baka mamaya makatsamba ng hindi maayos, katulad nung nangyari sa isang dalaga, I think sa Pangasinan ba yun nangyari, na minulis siya na siya, tapos dahil sa nangyari sa kanya is pumunta sa police station para i-report yung nangyari sa kanya, na 2 pulis ang nangmolestya sa kanya, pero hindi man lang binigyan ng escort itong dalaga para pauwi sa kanila. Ang nangyari is nabalita ng 2 pulis na namolestya sa kanya, ito ay kinidnap hanggang sa nagtagpuang patay na lang. So, yun ang nakakatakot. Yun bang may nangyari sa'yo, gusto mong pumunta ngayon sa PNP, pumunta sa presento para magpaayuda, pero dahil yung mga sinumbong mo ay mga pulis rin, pwedeng baliwalain yung reklamo mo at sa kalaunan, ikaw pa ngayon ang mapapahamak. Kaya kadalasan sa mga tao na may problema, lalo na pulis ang sangkot, hindi na ito lumalapit. No? Hindi na ito lumalapit. Kaya wag nang asahan ng PNP na pag pulis ang gumawa ng krimen ay lalapit ito sa presento. Ang nilalapitan na lang ngayon ng mga tao ay si Tulfo. Si Tulfo. Kaya huwag kayong magtataka bakit ang daming-daming hawak na kaso ni Tulfo na involve ang mga pulis. Kasi yun na lang ang nakita ng mga tao na may credibility na ipaglaban sila at makakuha ng hustisya. Kasi pag doon sa presento, definitely walang mangyayari. Okay? Kaya need ngayon, actually, one is to reform the PNP. Reform the recruitment process. Make also a reform of how they check each member, okay, annually. At dapat matanggal na rin yung mga palakasan system. Itong si Nuesca, nakakontinue ng serbisyo kasi ito ay malakas. Biruin mo, 2 homicide, dismissed. Okay? Kung hindi yan malakas, wala na tayong ibang masasabi pa niyan. No? Napakalakas niyan. Ibig sabihin, may sinasandalan. No? At yun ang nakakatakot. Yun dapat. No? At mag-umpisa yan sa recruitment. Dapat sa recruitment process pa lang is dapat maganda na ang kinalablabasan nito. Kasi kung titingnan natin, i-present ko lang, hindi talaga kaaya-aya. No? Ipakita ko lang sa inyo. Okay. Ito yan, no? Kung makita natin, talagang tingnan mo yung aura ng power ni Nuesca against sa nakapalibot sa kanya. He is more powerful kahit nag-iisa lang siya kaysa mga sibilyan na kaharap niya. It is because pulis siya, no? Pulis siya. Ito dapat ang klaseng power na meron tayo bilang tagaprotekta ng karapatan natin, na meron tayo bilang tagapangalaga ng buhay natin at mga property natin. Yun ang klaseng aura ng power na dapat meron. Ang problema, itong power na to ginamit sa kabalbalan. No? Nandoon yung aura ng power, pero pang-aabuso ng power ang ginawa ni Nuesca, ending the life of Sonia Gregorio as well as itong life ni Frank Gregorio. Okay? So, yung klaseng aura ng power ng pang-aabuso, hindi natin kailangan yan. Kailangan natin na pag nakita natin ang pulis is makita natin na powerful nga sila sa atin. Okay? Pero yung power na yan, sigurado tayo na ginagamit sa maayos, ginagamit sa pagprotekta sa atin, sa ating karapatan at saka sa ating mga property. Okay? So, kailan ito mangyari? Once na ma-reform ang PNP. Reform the recruitment process. Okay? Ulitin ko. Reform the kind of checking that they have for each member. Neurotest, ano pa bang klaseng test na kailangan gawin para assured tayo na yung bawat pulis ay may kakayahan talaga na protektahan ang mamamayan. At saka yung padrino system, no? Kasi yung mga pulis is tao lang din naman yan. Darating sa punto na magkakasala din yan, no? Pero dapat pag nagkasala ang pulis, walang palakasan na mangyayari. It must be white or white, black or black. Hindi pwedeng in between. Hindi pwede na yung black ay magiging white. Okay? So, yun dapat ang mangyari nito. Okay? So, again, going back to the question, nararapat ba ang death penalty? Nasabi na natin, hindi. Okay? At the very moment sana, kung merong force to apply the principle of self-defense, is sana on that very moment. Pero wala, no? So, dapat maibigay yung shall we say the hope for change for the person to retrieve back the criteria of sentience, rationality, and caring relationality. Okay? Tapos, kung talagang galit ang taong bayan, kung talagang may push ang death penalty, ang hinihingi lang natin is reform first the justice system. If we have the reformed justice system, we have a reformed PNP, then yung pangamba natin na baka ang lahat ng mabibitay ay mga mahihirap lamang, baka ma-minimize yun, no? Baka ma-minimize. Kung talagang hindi man talaga mapigilan ang pag-reinstate ng death penalty, please, reform first the justice system. Reform first the PNP. Okay? So, hanggang dito na lamang tayo. Okay? So, talagang isang buong oras ang ginugol natin. So, anong asahan natin sa next episode? Sa next episode, titingnan natin from the point of view of a theologian, no? Talagang titingnan natin kasi yung ang point of view ko na binigay ngayon is part theology, part philosophy, okay? And I want to bring this matter to someone who has shall we say who has a pure take on theology. Then tingnan din natin ang part ng legality nito, no? So titingnan natin, I hope we can invite a lawyer next time when we will be discussing about the implication of shall we say death penalty, okay? Triggered by the case of Nuesca. And by Tuesday we will be having another episode, okay? This is about the controversial declaration of support to the LGBTQIA about the issue on same-sex civil union by Pope Francis. Okay? Tapos, we have already invited a certain theologian to explain the very position of, shall we say, Pope Francis. Okay? So, hanggang dito na lang tayo. Okay? At maraming salamat sa panonood. Yung mga hindi nakapanood is i-replay nyo na lang, no? At you are free to write your comment on the comment section. And you can also ask question in the comment section. And I am willing to answer any question that you raise. Maraming salamat sa inyo.